Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Um, I am just making sure I'm streaming. Is it? It's looking a little weird today. All right. Well, I hope um, everybody has been good today. The weather here is not so nice. It's raining this morning, um, which when you've been in the house confined for days on end. Um, Rainy days are not so awesome. So anyway, thank you for joining today. Um, I, as you know, we did yesterday and we'll continue to do over the course of time, um, is we want to start with a morning prayer. So I have another prayer this morning that I want to hopefully I'll get to the point where I don't have to, read these prayers. I can just, speak from the depths of my heart and soul. But, right now, just, I found these prayers that I thought would be good, and they do sort of embody, what my feelings and thoughts are. So I thought I'd just go with that for now. So anyway, join me for the prayer. I thank you, Lord, no matter what I may face today. With your help, I will be able to endure, overcome, and prevail. I thank you in advance for your strength and energy that will sustain me, your wisdom that will guide me, and your peace that will fill me. May I honor you today in all I think, say, and do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So, wow, that was pretty powerful, actually. And I really feel like, I don't know how many people, that will either join this live or watch it later, what they think about, religion and, keeping God in your life or that higher power in your life. But I can speak from experience that, it's so important. Um, and there's been so many blessings as a result of me just believing and trusting that God is going to um, place his hand in our lives. So again, this is not a religious channel, but I feel like we should all, start the day every day with just thanking God for all of our blessings. So I'm going to leave it there. Um, some announcements for today before we get to our topic of the day. I had mentioned yesterday that our the homebuyer education that we generally do in person um, was on April 6th, and I stand corrected. That date is April 7th. It's actually the first Tuesday of every month. We do a homebuyer education workshop. So I wanted to let everybody know that. I also talked yesterday about the um, the training seminar, excuse me, that I'm going to be doing for telework or work remote workers. Actually, the training class is pivoting back to telework. There are tickets on Eventbrite if that's something that you're interested in joining us on. And as far as entrepreneurs are concerned, those who do join the live every morning, me being an entrepreneur myself, I think it's important that we lift everybody and help people promote their businesses, their nonprofits, whatever it is, um, that you're doing, because it's important, that we help other people and support other people. That being said, I just also wanted to, I'm going to promote my business, but also the nonprofit that I'm working with. So just real quick plug on TSM Mortgage Professionals. Um, I am my company is a professional development and training firm. Okay. And we help people determine what it is that they want to do, high school kids, um, kids that are getting out of college and have no idea, where they want to go or what they want to do. We have, mentoring services and coaching services. Because my background is mortgage banking, um, I offer loads and loads of mortgage banking classes. So if you have an interest in mortgage banking and finance and you want to know what that looks like, you can take my mortgage basics class. I have a Facebook page. It's TSM Mortgage Professionals. Go to my Facebook page, take a look at it, look at the courses that I offer. And another piece of that is homebuyer education. I offer free classes for homebuyer education, but I also have counseling, housing counseling services that I offer as well. So if I can help you in any way, please feel free to reach out to me. But go check out my website. You can see there some of the courses and services that I offer. The other plug that I wanted to talk about today is Helping Hands, our nonprofit. Okay. Um, Started a nonprofit, I want to say it was back in December. And actually, the nonprofit idea was a friend of mine. Her name is Sandra King. And, for years and years, she's been helping people, feeding the homeless, um, just, book bags for kids at school, um, whatever way she could help, she's been helping. And I was so inspired by that I wanted to, join her in that quest. So we now have a nonprofit. It's called Helping Hands Resource Inc., Helping Hands Resource Inc., and we are just that, a resource for people. We have lots of projects that we're working on. Um, I'm teaching a forms literacy class that I actually feel like a lot of schools could use that, and that's a whole nother topic, but we do forms literacy. We feed the homeless. We have a project called Soup for the Soul, is where we go and we feed homeless people. We have, oh gosh, what else? Girls on Fire. That's a group that we're starting where we want, young girls to know and understand, um, what they're capable of, and experience new things and cultures. So we'll do field trips and activities, and just something to empower young people. So anyway, you can check out the website there. We have tons of projects that we're trying to work on. With the coronavirus pandemic, it's been really difficult to do some of the things that we want to do because we're all confined to our homes. But um, we're going to figure out a way to continue to help. So, Helping Hands Resource Inc. Check out our Facebook page, and we have a website as well, helpinghandsresource.com, I think. Gosh, I don't even know why I don't, I can't remember that website, but I will place that on, at the end of this live as well, so you can go and check it out. Um, Okay, let's see. Oh, so another thing I wanted to talk about. Um, Sharing on this live is really important. That's what's going to keep it going. And although I do have the gift to gab, it's nice to have engagement. So if you're watching now or watching later, just shoot me a quick, comment and let me know what you want to talk about. If there are things that are important to you that we can talk about, um, because part of doing all of this is just to stay engaged. Um, so I want, everybody to do that, to try and stay engaged and help me keep this live going. All right, so I don't see anybody joining me today just yet. So I hope you guys, tune in later for the replay. But I want to talk about our topic today, which is success. How do we define success? Um, so I think that success means different things to different people. Um, for me, success is, waking up in the morning and um, being able to, accomplish a goal, that I've set for myself. Success for me is, getting up this morning every day, waking up and getting dressed or, comfortably dressed, obviously, because I'm not going anywhere for work. Um, but just getting up and making um, that effort, for lack of a better term. I'm losing my words today. Just getting up this morning and actually, doing this live. I'll feel like I've accomplished something just by doing what I set out to do. So I want to tell a little story about, where I am today and how I got here, and that in itself to me is somewhat a success story. Um, I've been in the mortgage business, like I mentioned yesterday, for almost 30 years. It might even be 30 years at this point. I've stopped counting, but um, and and working in operations and mortgage banking for the number of years that I worked in the field, it can really get taxing, because the job of an underwriter, you have a lot of things that you're responsible for. Um, you're responsible for the paychecks of the loan originators, right? Because if a loan doesn't close, you know, loan originators are paid on commission. So if loans don't close, they don't get paid. So they're pushing to get those loans approved. Then you have the home buyer that, is trying to maybe move from one home into another, and they've got a moving truck waiting. That's always the big excuse in mortgage banking when they're trying to rush a loan. I got somebody in a moving truck, and we got to get it closed. We got to get it closed. So I used to hear those stories all the time. And but still you have the pressure of the homeowner, you have the pressure from the loan originator, you have the pressure from the realtor, because all of those are performance based positions. So they're all pushing to get loans closed, and so sometimes it can be a bit stressful. And after 20, 25, 26 years of doing that, sometimes you get a little burned out. I call it, a love-hate relationship with the business. I can always fall back on underwriting because I loved it. I loved helping people, but it can, be somewhat stressful at times, as with any job. But anyway, I'm kind of getting off task. But what I the reason I said all that is because I did experience some burnout. And the burnout came from, one, the stresses of the job, but two, just really, yesterday I talked about, the law of the lid. If you're into John Maxwell, he talks about lots of things, but one of those laws of leadership is the law of the lid. And basically, in a nutshell, it's about, you know, being stuck underneath, like capping your potential and getting stuck under that lid. And you can place the lid on yourself. Other people can place the lid on you. But your mindset needs to be to get from under, that lid. And I kind of felt like that's what was happening to me. I've always, I felt, and some will attest to it, that I was, really good at what I did. I, uh, I placed huge value on every part of the mortgage process. So, I talked to you about the loan officers or loan originators needing to get the loan closed because they needed, they wanted to get paid and they wanted to help the borrower, but their livelihood depended upon that. We talked about the real estate agent who also is trying to get paid. We talked about, the homeowner who's, moving, or trying to refinance their house because they need cash out to do improvements or whatever the case may be. So all those moving pieces were really important to me as an underwriter. So I did my very best to accommodate however I could. So I'd work from, gosh, I'd come in, I'm not an early bird. So I get in about 9:30 every day, but I would work until midnight every night. My loan originators that I underwrote for knew that they could reach me at any time for anything. So my job went beyond, evaluating a borrower's credit profile. I help people get into loans. I help structure loans. I worked with investors to get loans sold. There were, um, tons of things that I did, as an underwriter, that those who worked with me can attest to. But uh, it it can be taxing. So I decided after a while that I really wanted to look deeply. Well, it was before that. Let me back up for a second. Before that, I worked for a company for about 10 years, and that company went out of business. They just closed their doors. It was husband and wife team, and had a great run with them, and they, actually really placed a lot of value. I loved working, with them and for them because they did recognize, the passion that I had for the business, and helping them to grow. And I met some wonderful people there, and it was all great. But when that company closed its doors, I was left without a job, and they kind of closed their doors like suddenly. I was left without a job. And at that point, I was pretty devastated, but I was trying to figure out, what am I going to do? You know, and I had been pretty successful there, as was many of the people that worked for that company. Um, so I had, a little bit to fall back on, but, you know, it doesn't last forever. But anyway, I started a loan modification business, and, um, and that, was going good for a while, but it was, one of those kind of trendy pop up, shops where, we have a need for it. While the need was there, I was able to capitalize on it. But then when the need went away, there was nothing left. So I was forced, and that was around 2011. 2008 to 2011, there's the crisis of the mortgage meltdown and all that good stuff. So it was just, it was crazy. But anyway, I found myself trying to figure out, what am I going to do? You know, I had spent all of these years, putting so much into my job, and, my kids were young at the time. And so I had to step back for a moment. And I feel like that was God really speaking to me, because um, it forced me. I was missing so much of my family and my children. And, you know, um, I was climbing the success ladder, um, and, providing for my family from a financial perspective. But, my kids were losing a mom, my husband was losing a wife, because to um, this, my career. And so then when I lost my job. Um, it was eye opening. So the first thing that I did was I started, volunteering for my kids' softball team and baseball teams. I became the team mom, so I put, all those organizational skills that I had in mortgage banking into just being a great mom. And I realized at that time what I was missing, and it really, really, really put things into perspective for me. Um, so after that, even finding a job, and working, the work life balance was huge for me, and it has been ever since. So I'm getting away from my my topic, which is, success. How do we define it? But I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So, well, here's how I'm going to connect the dots. One, going through the struggle of losing my job, created a path for success for me that I didn't even realize. And, that was, finding my way back to my family and understanding what's important. So a lot of people define, success as the material, you know, what you can show other people that you have. And I had all those things. I had the big house, still have the house, but had the house. I drove a BMW 525i, loved that car. It was midnight blue. I excuse me, had money in the bank. The family, we were doing well. And a lot of people, on the outside will look at that and be like, you know, man, Tiff, you're really doing good, because on the outside, that's what it looks like. But on the inside, behind the closed doors, was the struggle of, the sacrifices that you make to have all those things. And then you begin to think, are those sacrifices that you're making, are they really worth what it is that you're getting in materialistic things? And for me, it's there was no comparison, but I didn't realize that. So I spent, oh gosh, 12, 13 years of my life not really um, thinking I was successful, but not really being successful. I didn't find success until after I lost my job, and begin to realize how important family is. So God's put this on my heart to talk about it. So I guess that's where we're going today. um, but so I said a prayer when I lost my job, and I said, God, please help me to find my purpose. Like, what I know I'm really good at you know mortgages, and I just sort of stumbled into it, and it's made me very successful, but is that really my purpose? Or how can I use the experience and the skills and everything that um I've learned over these years? How can I apply that? It made me think about, what am I passionate about? What makes me laugh? What makes me smile? Being with my family makes me happy. Um, and how can I, what can I do that will still afford me the lifestyle that I'm living, even if I have to cut back a little bit, but still be happy and not stressed and all of that. And it actually took, so I think I mentioned that was in 2011. So where are we now? 2020. So 10 years, 9 years, where I am now, have my own business where I am helping people to navigate through their lives, whether it be personally or professionally. And I am a co-founder. I don't know if you call me a co-founder, but I work with the nonprofit. I work with my friend Sandra, um, and with this nonprofit, and it makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. So, how do I define success? I define success as happiness, right? So, if you're happy with what it is that you're doing, then you're successful. And, I don't make nearly the amount of money that I used to make. I don't drive a BMW anymore. I have a nice car. It's a modest car, but, I don't have I'm not flashy. I don't have the expensive jewelry. I'm a paparazzi girl. So, shout out to all you, paparazzi entrepreneurs. I love it. $5 rings are my thing. I love rings. So I'm always looking for, some kind of funky ring that I can wear. And I can afford that because they're only $5. So there's the plug for you paparazzi consultants. Love paparazzi. So, um, but I don't have all those fancy things anymore. But I'm happy. I'm smiling. Got a big smile on my face, and I'm happy because I have a career where I can work at home, be at home with my family. I can travel when I want to travel. So my kids are all in, sports. You've seen my Facebook posts and everything. My daughter plays for the University of Missouri. Um, and she plays softball there, and she loves it, and I love that she's there. I can go and I can travel to watch her play. My son is graduating this year. You guys know about the whole coronavirus thing, so we don't know if he's going to walk across the stage or how that's going to happen, but he'll be graduating this year, class of 2020, and he's going to play baseball for Radford University, on a scholarship there. My daughter's on a scholarship as well. And then my little Lissy bug, that's not a bug anymore, um, is in 10th grade. She's going to be a junior, after this school year. And she's a beast on the softball field as well. So we're looking for, or hoping that, she'll land a scholarship to a school of her choice. But I was able to spend time watching my children grow and succeed in their passions in life. So it ended up being a win-win. I have the best job ever. And I've got work-life balance. I work with a team of people who, understand what family is, and they, encourage me and all that I'm doing. So it's just a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. So one of the things that I want to say to all that, and I know it was kind of bouncing around, and I'm all over the place this morning, but that's okay. I'm following my heart as I speak. But what I want you to take away from today is that if you're struggling with something, and you don't feel like um, you have the success, that you're looking for, um, just remember that the struggle is part of the struggle is part of the journey, you know, um, to get you where you want to be. I've learned so much from the struggles that I faced. I had a conversation with my friend Allie one time when I was telling her about the business and what I was trying to do and what I wanted to do. And it took me back to, some of the not so nice things that I had gone through in my career, that I had to sort of, fight my way through. And at the time when those things were happening, I really didn't know why they were happening, but I felt so defeated and, like I wasn't going to make it. And it was that struggle. It was that struggle um, that brought me to, where I am today. It was the struggle. I had to go through the struggle in order to find success. So, it wasn't until, after I took myself out of those situations and then found myself in new situations as I was beginning to build my business, um, that's when I would think back to, I remember, when this happened and how I overcame that. But when you're going through the struggle, you do not realize it. I compare this struggle to this Slumdog Millionaire. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie. If you haven't, you need to watch it. So the premise, and it's been a long time since I watched it, but this is what I took from it. It was about a young boy who got separated from his family, and he in India, I think somewhere, and he had to go through, and he was a young boy, so he had to be resourceful. He had to figure out how to survive, and he went through some stuff. When I tell you this kid went through some stuff, he went through some stuff. So watch the movie Slumdog Millionaire. But then he ended up on this game show, um, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And they were asking all of these questions about, just all these random questions that most people wouldn't even know the answers to, right? Um, but he kept winning and winning and winning and winning. But what's important about that piece, and watch the movie and it'll all come together for you. But he was answering questions that people were thinking there's no way possible that this guy would know the answers to these questions. So he had to be cheating. So, they arrested him and, said that he was cheating and all this stuff, but he really wasn't. The reason he was able to answer all of those questions on the game show was because he had experienced he would go back into his memory when these questions were being asked, and he would think back to the experience that he had at that time. And as a result of that, he could answer, the questions on this game show. And what was really what I took away from all of that is that your experiences, that's where your knowledge comes into play. It's from the experiences that you have, not to take anything away from going to a university or college or business school or anything like that. It's not to take away from that at all, but it's the experience that really teaches you or allows you that knowledge. It's not reading something in a book. And so I don't know if I explained that really well or if you get the gist of what I'm saying, but watch Slumdog Millionaire because it is an awesome movie. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to watch it tonight, and have my kids sit down and watch it as well because there's lots of lessons to be learned from that movie. Um, what else do I want to say? What I realized, and I got to keep looking at my notes here just to keep myself on task, but um, take away from this that the struggle that you are experiencing today is part of the preparation for whatever is to come for you. So the struggle is part of the preparation. All right. So that's what I want you to take from today. I know I've kind of been babbling on. It's kind of hard to have conversations with yourself. I don't see anybody on this live this morning, but um, anyway, join me tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow. I'm going to be here every day speaking to success, speaking to wisdom, speaking to experiences. And I'd love to have company. If you can make time in your day to do that, it'd be great. So today, before I end, I am going to task you with writing down what success looks like for you. Okay. I want you to be sure that your professional goals are in alignment with your business goals, or your personal goals, I'm sorry, are aligned with your um, business goals and vice versa. It's important to keep a daily journal of your successes. I call that a brag book. I have one. I have a brag book, and I think, and there's nothing wrong with calling it a brag book. I think everybody should have one because I go back to that occasionally when I'm feeling defeated or down or I'm not having the success that I'd like to have. And what's great about it is it reminds me of all the successes that I have had. So when I call it a brag book, I don't mean, a book where you're, handing it out to people and say, oh, look at me, look at what I did. It's not that at all. It's just a reminder for you when you are, feeling a sense of despair or defeat in your life, or you're having you're going through a failure um, that is really sort of taking you out of your place and taking your focus off of what your goals are. Take a look at your brag book and remember what you have accomplished and what's gotten you to where you are today. And then if you take that and you remember that your struggle is part of your preparation for the success that's coming your way, then you'll be in really great shape. The last thing I want to say is that I think it's important to celebrate every success that you have, okay, whether it's big or small. Today's success for me is that I got out of bed this morning to be able to do this live because I didn't go to bed until about 1:30 this morning because I'm juggling a couple of projects right now. And as we know, as entrepreneurs, um, the work is never done, ever. Especially those of us who have a full time job like I do, in addition to um, a business of my own that I'm trying to run. So my day never ever ends. Um, anyway, so I'm going to leave you all with that. Those of you who have an opportunity to listen to this live later today, I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you get something out of it and you'll consider joining me for future lives. All right. I will put the replay out very shortly. Thanks everybody for joining today. I really appreciate it. And I will chat with you soon or tomorrow, actually. Have a good day, everybody. Thanks. Bye.